Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another edition, and a very big edition of Bengal Magazine, and that's because the boss is with us, the president of Buffalo State College, Katherine Conway-Turner. She's going to talk about the state of the college and her vision for the college. And after the president, Nick DeMarsh from women's soccer joins us, and Nick is bringing along Gabe Boldinski. Her real name is Gabrianna, but we're going to call her Gabe. And then Ray Shadowens, the head coach of cross country, is joining us, and Ray is bringing along senior Ken Ryan out of Syracuse, New York. Becky Coleman is here for the Bengal update, and we'll also have the Tim Horton Athlete of the Week. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, let's talk to the president. Well, we're very fortunate to have the president of Buffalo State College with us, President Katherine Conway-Turner. It's her first time on the show, so welcome.
Well, thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Try to make an analogy here with athletics, because this is an athletic show. This is you're in your second full season now of coaching, quote unquote, and I don't mean to make that so informal, but I'm always curious when you come on campus your first year. Gosh, there had to be so many people to meet, policies to review. What was your mission, your objective that first year last year?
Well, last year was really a year to get to know the campus. I knew a great deal about the campus before joining Buffalo State, but to really know the layers of it. So I spent a lot of time meeting with different units, meeting with our students, meeting with our faculty, meeting with our staff, and really trying to hear from the voices of those that are parts of our community, how they're feeling about Buffalo State and the issues they're facing and how they're moving ahead. So it was a really exciting year to really get to know the internal Buffalo State.
Sure.
Also, I was out on the road getting to know people that are supporters of Buffalo State, alums and people who have supported us in a variety of ways, community members. And so it was also a time to get to know our broader community as well. So it was a lot of getting to know people.
You know, I'll always sit down with a coach and look over the roster and say, how does the roster affect your philosophy? Keeping the athletic theme here of the show. When you got to know people and talk to people and understood issues, does that change a philosophy for a president when she comes on to a campus like this?
Well, one of the things I was really trying to find out from all the constituents I was talking with, whether or not the people really were manifesting the philosophy and the mission of Buffalo State as I read about it. And I must tell you that that was the case, that I kept finding that people were really talking about the things that I'd read about. So they were living the mission. They were really talking about the transformative nature of a Buffalo State education. They were talking about the different ways that they were trying to personally move ahead and how they were really supporting our students. So I did find that there was a nice affirmation between what I thought Buffalo State would be like and what the reality was. So, so it was really great. Tuesday
you had your fall forum, otherwise to keep it more simple, the state of the college, called the fall forum. What was your what was the theme, the message of that presentation?
Well, there are a lot of things I talked about, but the centering message was really to dare to be distinct. That there's so many wonderful things that we do and provide here at Buffalo State College, and that sometimes I find it amazing when I am talking to people, particularly off campus, and I'm telling them for the first time about an exciting program or how wonderful our athletic program is or how large our array of programs are. And so I realized that one of the things that we have to do as we move forward is to really be very daring about putting ourselves out there, who we really are. So we are going to begin a strategic planning process this year. I'm charging a committee to be involved in that, and that they will be working with and listening to the stories and the reflections across campus. And in that strategic planning process, we will be really codifying some of the areas that really are distinctly Buffalo State, and really allowing us to have a roadmap which will elevate us to true greatness in the future. Everything from the program arrays we have, to the applied learning opportunities that we provide, our amazing tradition of community engagement and public service, and really understanding how many of our students tell me as they graduate, because I had a great opportunity to talk to many seniors and graduating graduate students about how they changed in amazing ways while they were here at Buffalo State, and how ready they are for the next step experience, and how oftentimes they really developed areas that they didn't even know they had interest in. So in that sense, we're very transformative for our students, and I think that that's a wonderful way to be distinct. And so the underlying message is, let's dare to be distinct.
Fabulous.
Let's dare to be great. Let's dare to lead among institutions like us.
You casually, not casually, but you had mentioned athletics and that role, and I'm curious from the president's standpoint, where does athletics fall in the grand scheme of the institution, the academy, maybe enrollment management, reputation, PR? How do you see that role?
Well, actually, athletics hits all of those and many more. But first, before I talk about how it affects other areas, I'm going to talk about sort of lessons that you learn on the courts and on the fields. And because I really come from that perspective, that the kind of way that our athletics programs help students develop their personal best can really not only help them in the sport that they are playing on in the team, but also it really helps them understand what they can do in the broader world. So I think the lessons you learn, through the athletic programs just, really sets you up to be successful as you move forward. We know that a lot of the critical problems that we address as a country are done as teams, and that it's not one person sitting in a room solving a problem, but it's a team of individuals that work together, that understand the strengths, understand that when I throw this, someone's there to catch it.
Absolutely.
And so those kinds of lessons that really we see honed so well on the athletic field are really the kinds of lessons that will, follow our students as they leave. So basically, in a very fundamental direction, I feel that the athletic programs prepare our students in amazing ways for greatness as they leave here.
We have about a minute left in this segment. It's hard to put it into 60 seconds, but your vision for this college, this campus over the next 2, 3, 4 years, what do you hope will happen?
Well, actually, I've been thinking a lot about this recently because as I'm pondering strategic planning and really focusing on the next 5 years, in 5 years, we will be celebrating our 150th anniversary. What a wonderful moment.
Sure.
And so really my plan is for every corner of our campus to really elevate their work to the next level. And so that although we're doing really wonderful work now, we cannot rest on our laurels. So what can we do in our academic programs, in our athletic programs, at every corner to truly rise to a place of leadership among our peers? I know that we have what it takes to be leaders in every corner of this campus. And so my vision is to really see the elevation of Buffalo State from a very, very good college to a really great college that really is truly leading, where others are using us as the model of that distinctive campus that they want to be like.
Well, Coach, put me in. I'm ready to play. I mean, I am all pumped up. Yeah, that's a terrific pep talk. And thank you again for being on Bengal Magazine, and best of luck.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and I look forward to my next visit.
Thank you. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do want to talk about homecoming. It's this weekend on Saturday, parade on Elmwood, tailgate party at the sports arena, and then also the big football game against St. John Fisher. Tickets are available at the gate, and if you want any more information on the events or the schedule, the website is now on your television. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk women's soccer with Nick DeMarsh. Stay with us. Well, we have congratulations going out to Gabrianna Boldinski from Kenmore East. Go Bulldogs, the criminal justice major and our center back. Played stifling defense and was an integral part of 3 consecutive shutout wins for the Bengals over Case Western, Brockport, and Geneseo. The Bengals yielded just 8 shots on goal in those 3 wins. And Boldinski scored the lone goal in the 1-0 win over Geneseo on a header from a corner kick. So she did it all, and she'll be on the show right after this announcement. Congratulations again going out to Gabe Boldinski. this week's Tim Hortons Athlete of the Week. And Gabe is with us, along with Nick DeMarsh, women's soccer coach for the Bengals. And Nick was on last time, but we decided to have Nick on again because Nick is on a roll. 5 straight wins, 6-3 overall, 2-0 in the conference now. And first of all, congratulations to both of you for a great run, and hopefully keep it going. So you look back on these 5 wins, and the obvious question is, what are the keys to 5 consecutive wins?
Well, credit to the players, of course, first and foremost. You know, soccer is a player's game, so they've executed the plan, and they've done extremely well. I think the team has a lot of attacking power in it, like we spoke about on the last interview. But I also mentioned briefly that we were going to go back to our roots as a team and focus a little bit more on how we defend, because we were scoring goals, but we were also giving up some loose goals.
That's right.
You put more emphasis on the attack, and you open up on the back end. So I think we've corrected some of those issues. But I think we're still a work in progress, and there's more work to be done.
So here you are, a SUNY Defender of the Week, and yet you scored the goal against Geneseo in a 1-0 win. So I got to ask you, what side do you like better, being defender or scoring goals?
I like being a defender. It's always nice scoring goals, but I think being composed in the back and just is my thing. Okay.
And you had mentioned off camera that she almost had another goal on a terrific play. What was that all about?
Well, it's interesting with Gabe. She's a very good defender. She's patient. She's got great timing. She's got controlled aggression, but she's also a threat in the attack. We've got a few set pieces and restarts that we put Gabe on, and she's very effective. She's a good striker of the ball.
Okay.
She's very good in the air. So, you know, she nearly scored a blinder against Brockport, and then the header off a corner kick against Geneseo. That's Gabe's bread and butter.
Okay, so the corner kick was a set play, and it directly involves her in that type of play?
Well, we have several players on the team who are good in the air, and we train for special situations. Sure. Gabe is one of them. We bring her up from the back because she's very good in the air. The ball was right, her timing was right, and it was a captain's goal.
Okay, and what's a blinder?
That's just a
term you use.
An emphatic goal.
The Nick DeMarsh book of women's soccer. It'll be in there, the definition. You know, frankly, we've been talking to Gabe here, and she is so quiet. She's just sitting here. And is she like this on the field, or what happens as soon as she walks on the field?
She flips the switch.
Is that right?
And it's a different person. Yeah, she's extremely demanding and extremely aggressive. She's the leader on the field.
Well, let's get back to this 5-game winning streak, and what does something like that do in the locker room? I mean, it must be tremendous to come to practice every day, go to work, et cetera, et cetera. What's it like in the locker room these days?
I think it boosts our confidence.
Sure.
I mean, when you lose game after game, you kind of get down on yourself and question like what the season's going to be. But once you start winning, kind of just uplifts everyone.
You know, you had said going back to your defensive roots, and it shows, it seems like, obviously 3 straight shutouts. The Geneseo game, you were up 1-0, and then Geneseo gets 1 shot in the second half. So you're more comfortable with the defense. Is that the game plan now going forward defensively, or are you still trying to push the game and being aggressive?
No, I mean, no one wants to win 1-0. Everybody wants, that 3-0 cushion.
Yeah.
Geneseo is a very good team. I think they're ranked in the top 20.
Yeah.
But you do what you need to do in every game, and when they press, you have to stand in and make sure you get each moment right. So we focus on having a good team shape and everybody doing the job individually, especially in those critical 1v1 situations. So, I don't think anybody plans to hang on to a 1-0 lead, and if you do, that usually doesn't turn out well.
I see you in the hall sometimes. You're very cautious about this team and about the games, et cetera, et cetera. Is that the personality, or are you cautious? Do you not want them to get too far ahead of the game here?
Well, I mean, I can remember predictions in the past have burned me because I look at my team and I say, this is a fantastic team, player by player, position by position, and we don't have success.
Right.
And other teams I look at and I say, I'm not sure if we can be successful this year, and we rattle off, 13 wins, 14 wins.
Right.
So I'm cautiously optimistic. I think we have the pieces to the puzzle. We have the tools, but as soon as you believe that you can do something big, you drop a game you shouldn't. So we will take it literally, as the cliche goes, we will take it one game, one moment at a time.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you both the best. Congratulations on a great start, and let's keep it going.
Thank you.
I won't be cautious, I'll be optimistic.
Fantastic.
We'll take another break, and when we come back, we're going to go outside again and talk cross country with Ray Shadowens, the head coach of the Bengals. Stay with us.
Welcome to Bengal Update. I'm Rebecca Coleman here with the recap of news and a look at the upcoming events surrounding Buffalo State athletics. Women's soccer has won 5 straight games and not allowed a goal in 313 minutes and 51 seconds. Last week, the Bengals recorded 3 shutouts, defeating Case Western Reserve on the road 1-0, and then opening up conference play with 2 big SUNY wins, defeating Brockport 2-0 and Geneseo 1-0. Melissa Smith continues to pace the Buffalo State offense with 12 points off 5 goals and 2 assists. The junior transfer currently leads the SUNY with 4.78 shots per game. Senior Gabrianna Boldinski has been the Bengals' defensive anchor and was chosen as the SUNY Women's Soccer Defensive Player of the Week for her efforts. Buffalo State returns to action on Saturday afternoon for a 1 p.m. Battle by the Lake matchup at Fredonia. Men's soccer opened up conference play this past weekend with a tie and a win. The Bengals battled with an aggressive Golden Eagle squad on Friday afternoon at Brockport and finished in a 2-2 draw. Danny Clavin and Bass Saar both scored goals, while goalkeeper William Benahene recorded 6 saves. Saturday, Buffalo State headed to Geneseo, where the Bengals earned a 2-1 victory. Luke Pavone netted a pair of goals in the win, and Benahene had another 6-save game in net. The Bengals will make the short trip down the 190 South on Wednesday night for a 7 p.m. non-conference matchup at DeUville. Football, who lost starting quarterback Kyle Hoppe for the season due to injury, has lost 2 straight Empire 8 games. The Bengals fell at Alfred University 29-26 on September 19th, and then at Morrisville State 37-23 on September 26th. Trey Jones leads the offense with 6 touchdowns and averages over 100 rushing yards per game. Defensively, Shaq Frederick and Marquise Artis are pacing the Bengals with 29 and 25 tackles respectively. Despite opening conference play 0-2, the Bengals currently lead the Empire 8 in rushing offense with 209 yards per game. Buffalo State will finally open its home slate with its first of 3 straight games at Coyer Field next Saturday against St. John Fisher at noon. The game will be the focal point of Buffalo State's homecoming festivities and will be televised live across New York State on Time Warner Channel 323. Men's cross country finished 8th out of 15 at the Penn State Barron Invite. Senior Austin Becker paced the Bengals with a 28th place finish in 28 minutes and 33 seconds. The Bengals also competed at the Roberts Wesleyan Invite, finishing 18th of 24 teams. Becker continued to pace the Bengals with a 79th place finish. On the women's side, the Bengals had strong finishes in both meets. Sheree Smith led Buffalo State to a 5th place overall finish at the Penn State Invite with a time of 20 minutes and 55 seconds. At the Roberts Wesleyan Invite, the Bengals finished 9th of 20 teams and were led by Kat McNamara with a time of 19 minutes and 36 seconds. Both teams returned to action on Saturday with a chance to preview the NCAA Atlantic Regional course at the Geneseo Invite. Women's volleyball is coming off a big victory over Nazareth on Tuesday evening that gave head coach Maria DePeters her 100th career win. In front of a large crowd, the Bengals jumped out to a big lead in the first set and then carried the momentum into a sweep, avenging a straight sets loss to Nazareth earlier in the season. Senior Hannah Ronaldo is pacing the Buffalo State offense with 156 kills and 190 points scored. Buffalo State will enjoy an extended break before returning to action for a SUNY pool play weekend at Plattsburgh on October 9th. Reporting for Buffalo State Athletics, I'm Rebecca Coleman. And now, for more Bengal Magazine, here's Tom.
Well, thanks, Beck, and welcome back to Bengal Magazine. We're joined now by the head coach of the men's and women's cross-country teams here at Buffalo State, Ray Shadowens, and Ray brought along Ken Ryan, his senior from Syracuse. And welcome, gentlemen. Ray, first time back on the show, but first time for this season. How are things going on the men's and the women's side?
Very pleased with our
Great.
start. I think it's been said before, our sport's a little different in that we don't really have conference play or,
That's right.
we don't have duels or anything. It really comes down to the SUNY meet.
Right.
However, I didn't want to get completely, where that is the only thing going on this season. So every meet we've been going to, there has been a purpose, there has been a plan, there has been a reason we're going there.
Okay.
And so far we've executed that, and it's been pleasantly surprising.
And Ken, from your standpoint, how are things going?
I think things are going really well. We've had a few meets now, and the checklist of what we want to do at the regional and conference meets is right on course. So,
Okay.
like this iteration of our team, like being here 4 years, although our numbers aren't as big, it's really a team that really is like well knit
Fabulous.
and wants to work together.
And how are you doing personally?
I'm doing all right. Like I said, right on that checklist.
Great,
A
terrific.
few races to go.
Now you said that there were certain things you wanted to accomplish at certain meets, et cetera. So can you enlighten us on that? What are you trying to accomplish from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, like we said, the numbers are a little low, so we kind of know where everyone is where they fall on the team. People are going to shift a couple of places.
Right.
However, we kind of been breaking into phases, and early in the season it's been really heavy volume. And with a lot of, a young team, they were definitely, I think the legs were feeling it. Not as high intensity, not necessarily that training that, you feel like you're going to pass out, but it's just every day there's kind of a grind. You're putting the miles on.
Okay.
So we going into the meets, it's just getting across to them that, hey, if you don't run your fastest time at the Penn State Barron Invite, it's not the end of the world, because we have a goal of running fast at the SUNY meet.
Okay.
But even with that being said, we're still putting up good times, which is exciting as a coach, and it speaks a lot to our athletes and them doing the small things, outside of practice, small things before, after, and so on.
How has this training regimen changed from previous coaches that you've had here at Buffalo State?
It's definitely, I think, the best so far, only because across the other two coaches and the other 3 years, it's just that the team was larger, and his training style was very individual based. It's like,
Interesting.
like you've been hurting the last few days, you should adjust your program this way, versus just saying this group of people that you all fit into the same general pack in a race.
Okay.
You should all adjust your plans this way.
So does your philosophy change from season to season? I mean, off campus here, off camera, I was asking, what's training like? Is it, you say heavy volume, I'm assuming that's a lot of miles.
A lot of miles, yeah.
So does it change from year to year, or do you have a set way that you're going to do things?
I'll be honest, Tom, sometimes my training changes week to week.
Wow.
And I know that's like, some people are like, red flag, what is he talking about? We have to be adaptable. We're a city campus. We're in
Okay.
Western New York. Weather, concrete, put a lot of miles in. You can't, if you put yourself in this box and something goes wrong, then what do you do? So
Yeah.
my training, it does change and it does adapt to what our needs are.
Well, that's interesting. Why don't you tell the viewers, because you don't just run at you don't practice, run at one particular area. There are a number of them. Chestnut Ridge, Delaware Lake area, maybe around campus.
Yep.
What are the reasons for that, and what says today we're going here and tomorrow we're going there?
It could be the logistical aspects, of getting off the concrete. It could be early in the season, we need strength, so we need to run up a hill, so we go to Chestnut Ridge.
Okay.
We actually had a group that was there yesterday. We ran in the rain, and that's just part of the sport. So.
I want to ask you both the same question because we have about a minute left in the segment. This weekend at the Geneseo Invite, and it's a prelude really to the Atlantic Regionals, the NCAAs. How do you approach this weekend's meet as a runner, knowing that that's a prelude to the NCAA?
Well, you can almost treat it like it's going to be the NCAA regional, because we're going there to preview the course, and I'm sure a lot of other SUNYAC teams are going to do the same. So if you see somebody in a SUNYAC uniform, you imagine as if it was like the Atlantic race and try to get in front of them to set that tone for the actual race.
Okay, and do you have the same perspective, the same outlook on this race, or is it a little different for the coach?
I'm glad he said that, because when we do get to these meets, I've been really encompassing and telling them this is a sport where you need to race.
Okay.
We can't get caught up in seconds to the point something goes wrong and you're a few seconds off splits. It's about racing. So what's going to be great compared to some of the other meets we're seeing, we're we're going to see the Geneseos, we're going to see the Cortlands, and not only that, we're going to see the schools from New Jersey come up here. So we're still training hard,
right,
but at the same time, it's a good opportunity to see where we stack up.
Well, fantastic, gentlemen. Thanks again for being on the show. Best of luck at Geneseo and the rest of the season.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Bengal Magazine. Thanks to all our guests and the great guys here at Instructional Resources. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.